This is American Ground Radio's 4th of July special, What Makes America Great? I'm Stephen Parr with Louis R. Avalone. Louis, we've gone through 2 hours. This is the third hour of our special, and man, I'm loving every minute of this.
It's just a celebration of what makes our country so strong and unique and great. And I love the personal stories of struggles and sacrifices. And very frankly, they're stories that can only be told in America.
You know, that's one of the great things. We're about to talk to Alan Dershowitz, and I really think his is a story that can only be told in the United States of America.
You know, and speaking about, growing up here in the United States of America, you hardly hear folks say anymore it's a free country. I mean, I did growing up, but
right.
I mean...
But when you're in an argument with another kid and they're like, you can't do that, and you're like, yeah, I can. It's a free country.
Yeah.
It's a free country.
I mean, but I really don't remember the last time I actually heard anyone say it's a free country.
5th grade, maybe?
But see, part of the reason is that the left has become so adept at shaming you for putting your opinion out there.
Right.
And it's Orwellian irony that modern liberals want to silence dissent when it goes against their preconceived opinions.
Right.
How can you be liberal and yet not fully support the freedom of speech?
You can't, because a liberal is one who supports liberty. And the freedom of speech is essential to liberty. The freedom of thought is essential to liberty. And now we have people that are being canceled for wrongthink.
I mean, where is the principled thinking? Where is that in our country? Our next guest, arguably, you could make the case that he is a believer in principled thought, because he claims he actually voted for Hillary Clinton, and yet he's now was defending the president of the United States, President Trump,
right,
against the impeachment claims.
Well, and he's defending Rudy Giuliani, against having his law license revoked by the state of New York. He said, if you're going to revoke Rudy Giuliani's, there's any number of attorneys you could revoke it for. There won't be any attorneys left. I do think Alan Dershowitz is a liberal in the classical sense of the word, the best possible sense of the word. He does believe in liberty. He does believe in personal freedom. And I think that's essential to America's greatness.
And the Constitution of this great nation.
And I'm not sure there's anybody who knows more about the Constitution than Alan Dershowitz. So as we kick off this final hour of our special, here is Alan Dershowitz. And joining us now on the phone, Professor Alan Dershowitz. Welcome to American Ground Radio's 4th of July special, What Makes America Great? I think a lot of folks know you as maybe the preeminent constitutional scholar in America, I think, over the past several decades.
Well, I'm happy to be part of what makes America great, because America is a great country. You know, I had lunch a few years before she died, with Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She grew up in the same place that I grew up in, Brooklyn, a few years before me. And she asked me a question when we had lunch. She said, what's the difference between a bookkeeper in the garment district and a Supreme Court justice?
Okay, what's the difference between a bookkeeper in the garment district and a Supreme Court justice? I love the setup already. All right. And she said?
Right. And the answer was one generation, because her mother was a bookkeeper in the garment district and she was a Supreme Court justice. And I responded by saying, all right, well, what's the difference between a bookkeeper in the garment district and a Harvard law professor? And the answer is one generation, because my mother too worked as a bookkeeper in the garment district. And that's what makes America great. You can go from having a job like bookkeeper in the garment district, no college education, and your children can reach the greatest heights in America. That's what makes America great. Meritocracy. You know, if there weren't meritocracy, how would a woman like Ruth Bader Ginsburg make it to the top? She would be a secretary today. And how would I have made it to the top of my profession? I'd be selling shoes in Brooklyn. The answer is meritocracy. The answer is that in America, you are supposed to be judged by the content of your character. I was there when Martin Luther King gave his speech in 1963, and he said, I dream of a time when my children will be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. That's what makes America great, and we're losing it. We're losing it to what's called identity politics. Today, there are people who want to judge everybody by their race, by their gender, by their sexual orientation, by their ethnicity instead of by the merit. And that's going to hurt America. What makes America great is in one generation, you can move from the bottom of the economic pile to the very, very top, from the bottom of the socioeconomic pile to the very top. And we have to preserve it. We have to make sure that every child in America has the opportunity to rise to the top. You can't do that in most countries in the world. And I want to see America stay great and make sure that we can give everybody the opportunity that Ruth Bader Ginsburg and I had to come from Brooklyn to, in my case, Cambridge, Massachusetts, in her case, Washington, D.C.
Why is it so offensive to the left, though? The notion, the concept of meritocracy, that this nation is a great nation. What upsets the left so much about thinking that?
Well, it's more than it upsets them. It is today regarded as a microaggression at the University of California to say the most qualified person should get the job. Meritocracy has become a dirty word to the left because the left claims they want diversity. That's the last thing they want is diversity. They don't want different points of view. They only want their point of view. Their definition of diversity is more people of a certain race. And that's important, but that's not what diversity is all about. Diversity includes ideas, and diversity includes perspectives, different approaches to life, different approaches to religion, to the economy, to politics. And the last thing the left wants is diversity of ideas. They want uniformity of ideas. That's why they don't believe in freedom of speech or due process. For them, it's free speech for me, but not for thee, due process for me, but not for thee. And I'm not talking about genuine liberals. Genuine liberals accept their real diversity. They accept due process. They expect free speech. I'm talking about the hard left. The hard left, which admires Castro and admires what happened in some other countries where free speech was abolished and a perspective was given that everybody had to agree with. And so what makes America great is diversity of viewpoints and ideas, meritocracy, the ability to argue, the ability not to be canceled, not to be shut down. And we're losing it all because the left today has become intolerant of different ideas, intolerant of dissent, intolerant of due process. They know the truth with a big T, the truth with a big T. They know that if a woman accuses a man, of course the man is guilty. They know that the vaccines are good. I believe that, but they don't want to have dissent or difference about that. They know elections are fair. They don't want dissent or disagreement about that. I happen to agree with many of their points of view on the merits, but I don't agree with shutting down opposing points of view, and I don't agree with trying to compromise with meritocracy. We need more Ruth Bader Ginsburgs who come up from Brooklyn, who come up from the barrios, who come from the ghettos, who come from the inner cities, who come from places, immigration, and in one generation have their children go from the bottom to the top.
So, Professor, you obviously love this country. Do you remember exactly when it was that you realized that this country was something special, that this nation was exceptional?
Well, it was my grandmother who came from a little shtetl in Poland when she was 16 years old. And she would take me to the Statue of Liberty on July 4th. And she would make me recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And she would sing with her thick accent, Polish accent.
Wow.
She would sing not only the first stanza that we all know of our national anthem, but she knew the second stanza that almost nobody knew. You know, this is a woman with a thick accent. She loved America because it gave her the chance to have 6 children and 30 grandchildren, many of whom succeeded and did good things for America. So I learned patriotism from my immigrant grandmother.
Professor Dershowitz, we appreciate you taking so much time to talk to us today and appreciate your passion for this country and the service that you've given to it for many, many years, sir.
Well, thank you. I love America. America has been good to me. I want to make sure I'm good to America. I want to make sure I give back to America what it has given me and my family.